Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon to one and all. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for the second lecture of the knowledge series that we are hosting with Essilor India. So to present today's topic, we have optometrist Abhinav Meherwal, who is going to be talking about how to win your clients through effective communication. This topic is something which is not covered in our undergraduation, right? And this is the most important topic as far as ophthalmic dispensing is concerned. So we have a very exciting session today. So thanks once again for joining us. To introduce you all to the speaker for the day, Abhinav Meherwal is currently working as the managing director of the 37 years old Meherwal Optical Company Group, which includes the Eye Destination, 99 Plus Optical Shopee Private Limited, Vision Technology India, and Meherwal Optical Company Private Limited. He is one of the few qualified optometrists practicing in Rajasthan. He graduated from Elite School of Optometry, a unit of Shankara Nethralaya, Chennai in 2009, accredited by BITS Pilani. Upon his graduation, he received 4 gold medals for best performance in dispensing optics, clinical optometry, research methodology, and ocular physiology. Apart from these, he was also adjudged as the best student of his batch. He then pursued his MBA in marketing and then took charge of the family optical business. He received the Young Entrepreneur Award from Rajasthan Chamber of Commerce and Industry in 2013. His venture, the Eye Destination, is the only optical store from Rajasthan to be part of Essilor Club Platinum, Ray-Ban Premium Store, and lot more. In his social life, he is serving currently as the president of the Rajasthan Optometric Society, educational secretary of the Optical Association of India, ex-BNI Blue Jade president. He also served as the treasurer of Lions Club between 2017 and 2018. He has been a guest speaker at many optical conferences such as International Optic 2021, OCI Online Lecture Series, and he's also a trainer for Vision Plus magazine for Rajasthan. And he's also one of the core members of the special interest group of the Facebook OCI SIG group on dispensing optics. So welcome Abhinav for this great session that we are looking forward to. Along with Abhinav, we have Ms. Anantalakshmi, who's the professional head at Essilor, and she will be also be in the panel discussion by the end of this lecture from Abhinav. So over to you, Abhinav.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. A very bright afternoon. I hope most of us had a good lunch this afternoon, and most of us are already feeling sleepy, probably. Yeah? So I really don't know how many people have joined in, but I guess this is OCI platform. So first of all, I want to start by thanking the OCI and the Essilor group for giving me this opportunity to present before you some communication tips, which I feel I have learned over the period of time through my experience, which is I'm going to share with you. And if I'm able to add even a bit, even a pinch of value to your skills, to your communication skills, and help you, then do let me know, do connect with me. In the end, I'll be sharing my email ID with you. So do connect with me, get in touch, and we will take this journey even further. So starting right away without wasting your time, let's see the scenario of today's world. Today, everybody is occupied with so much of information. There is so much of information overload everywhere, whether you open your mobile phones, your television, or even the people giving you all the gyans, the knowledge, Google, everywhere. You have lots and lots of options. And many a times your customers, you yourself, we feel confused on which information to be believed in, which information is actually right, and which information is actually is wrong. And in this over-dramatized world of marketing, of communication, how to stand out as a communicator, how to make that impact, how to win customers. And winning customers is not only important for opticians, but everybody. Even if you are a practicing optometrist, you're working in a clinic, or you are working in an eye hospital, having good communication skills is very important for all of us. Moving ahead, what are the things that we are going to cover in today's session? We are going to talk about what is effective communication and how to have amazing, wonderful conversations with everyone, and how to win and retain customers, clients, communication among team members, and non-verbal communication will be taking care of. When we talk about the communication is not only just the traditional communication which happens face to face. Communication also happens through the printed media, through your brochures, through your pamphlets, through internet, through your website, through your LinkedIn page, through the channels that you are associated with, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So everything counts for your communication, because any communication which you make out there with the public is a public communication which you are making. So understanding, which is the more effective way of communication and which are the least effective modes of communication. This is the chart which will give you clarity. The unaddressed documents like bulk emails, posters, or for that matter, even your Instagram and Facebook post, they are unaddressed documents which are less effective, but yes, they are important to build your reach. Then comes the written or the addressed documents, like the customized letters which you send through emails or letters, which are personalized with the person's name. They are effective relatively. Then comes the telephonic conversation or the video conferencing like the one we are having today. And the best out of all is the still face-to-face conversations that we have. And my friends, when we actually, talk about these communication skills, and it has become very, very important. All of us have heard so many trainings. We have gone through so many trainings, so many programs, read so many books about, these communication skills. And most of us have learned these wonderful points that we should actually look whenever you are talking to somebody. You should look to the person in their eye. We should think of something interesting and glance, look, nod, and smile, and to show that you're paying attention. To repeat back in the end what you've just heard and summarize, just to let them know that you were listening. So how many of us actually believe that this is the communication that we are looking for? And I really don't know whether I'll be able to see the responses or not, but you can definitely on this Facebook live chat, you can write your responses in the comment sections. And our team will be seeing that how many of you think that this is it about the communication, or is there something more? See, because I feel when you're genuinely interested in someone, or you're genuinely interested in the communication, you don't need to act. And these are some just acting tips. I would just say that, whenever you're going to have a conversation, you don't start a conversation like, okay, I'm smiling, check. Whether I'm nodding, check. Whether I am today in the positive mood, check. The conversations normally don't start like that. And that's why I say cut the crap. And today I'm going to talk to you about the real tips. And believe me, out of these 10 tips, even if one or two you're able to implement, your conversations will become great conversations. And these conversations I'm talking about not only in the perspective of your winning customers, but also in terms of having the communication or great conversation with your colleagues, within your family, with your children, with everyone for that matter. And to start with, let's see, multitasking. And we all are crazy about multitasking because we feel that, multitasking gives us those extra arms. We can do so much more. We can achieve so much more. But in reality, multitasking is depressing. Multitasking doesn't give you outstanding results. It always keeps you distracted. So when you're having a communication with somebody, and if you're constantly checking on your phone, when you are bothered about your telephone bills, you are bothered about, what you're going to have for dinner, whether you are feeling fine or not, what's going to be your future, that's not the ideal way. So don't multitask. When you are in a conversation, be present, be in that moment. Listen clearly, be curious about what is coming, and just be present. And it's a very important point. Don't pontificate. Now, in this world, in this scenario where we are so heavily opinionized, हम लोग की सब इतनी opinions हैं, and we are so you could say, I would say everybody is heavily opinionated now. Everybody has an opinion about everything, what the one should eat, what we should drink, what time we should sleep, where we should walk, what kind of workout we should do, what kind of friends we should have. And having so much opinions is not good. That means that we are not listening. So if you are looking for conversations where only you make a point and you don't give ears to the other person, and you're not open to the pushback, you're not open to the suggestions, you're not open to the counters, then better write a blog. Just write a blog. Nobody is going to cross question you. But when you're into a conversation, be open. Be open to learn. Be open to learn even from those people with whom you have certain differences about the political ideologies or whatever. We are not dictators here. We are all humans. And conversations happen within the humans. Going to number 3, the important point which comes in mind is, using the open-ended questions. Friends, to the most complicated questions, you have the most simplest of the answers. Like, for example, if a reporter asks somebody that, oh, are you terrified? What are they going to answer? They are going to respond to the complicated term terrified. So they will say yes or no. That's it. That's not going to lead. That's not going to open the conversation further. So you have to ask whys, hows. So when you ask whys and hows, and your question becomes open-ended, it gives you a lot more opportunity to connect with the person. They think and they answer whenever they are talking to you. So they are also into the conversation. Now, when we see this, why I say go with the flow. Most of us, it happens all the time that when we are in a conversation, in the end, we actually don't remember a thing. पूरी रामायण हो जाती है और हमें लास्ट में पता ही नहीं होता कि राम कौन था और सीता कौन थी. बहुत से लोग होते हैं ऐसे. And a lot of times when this flow of thoughts is coming in our mind, you have to let them pass. Because when we get excited, oh, I've got a very clever question in my mind right now and I'm going to ask in the end, you stop listening. And sometimes that question has already been answered in the later half of that conversation, which you have not listened. And you actually end up making yourself look like a fool. So don't do that. Go with the flow, let the thoughts come, let them pass. But don't stick to them. Don't attach yourself with them. Most important thing, one of the more important thing is that if you don't know, say that you don't know. The world is very open. It's not like in the past where the information was only kept in the secret books, in the secret places, in the secret libraries. The world is open now. If you are going to lie to a person can immediately catch your lie. They can right away, they can catch they can Google a thing and they can find out whether your point is valid or invalid. So be a familiar person to them. Don't be a liar. And if you don't know about something, be open. Say that I don't know about it, and I'll probably get back to you. Don't equate their experiences about something with yours. And what happens? Kisi ka breakup ho gaya, somebody has got a breakup, and you equate it. Are yaar, mera bhi hua tha, and this is how I've moved ahead. When somebody shares their personal experiences with you, it is not an opportunity for you to bluster about yourself, to market yourself. Oh, how great you are. It is not about that. It is about them. Because every experience is an individual experience, and respect that. Don't repeat. You know what happens during a conversation a lot of times, especially with our loved ones, especially with our children, and especially when we feel that, people are not hearing us out. We keep on repeating things. We keep on repeating things after and after, whether the people are interested or not. Don't do that. Stay out of the weeds. Now, what does this stay out of the weeds means? People are really not interested in the complicated terms, the dates, time, the muhurta, and what and all. Happens, you call it. People want to get to know you. When they are in a conversation, they want to be impressed by you. They want to talk to you. They don't want to listen to all the complicated terms which they cannot understand and which just switches them off. So use a language which they can understand, connect with the people in their language and make them understand if you're explaining them something. Very important quality is listen. Like Buddha said, and I'm paraphrasing it here, that when you talk, you don't learn. You learn only when you listen. And it is a very important point, like how the Stephen Covey has said, that whenever most of the people these days, they listen to reply. They don't listen to understand. So there is a very big difference. So we need to develop the distinction, and we need to stop listening for replying, for jumping to conclusions. We should listen to the other person carefully, fully, what they are trying to say, understanding their intentions and emotions, and then form a response. Response itself means response. It doesn't mean react. And you can only respond if you listen well. And probably that's the reason why God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And in the last, I would say, keep it brief. Long conversations, elaborating, it doesn't create curiosity. Your conversation should be such that the other person should be interested in your conversation. He should be the person who is asking questions to you and who wants to know more about what you're talking. To get that thing, keep it brief, create the curiosity. That's very important. Now, going forward and coming to our topic, how to win customers through effective communication, which practically means sales. So thank you, Anita ma'am, and thank you, OCI, for giving this title, which actually boils down to sales. Now, many of us, we might feel that we are not into sales. We are not selling any product. We're not doing any sales. So my dear friends, everybody in this world who is interacting with any other human being, even if it is your child or your wife, you are doing sales. There is a basic principle. You either sell your product, you either sell your ideas, you either sell yourself, or you either get sold. But in whatever transactions it is happening, transactions of ideas, thoughts, processes, products, whatever, it is all sales, and we are all in sales. So going forward, in today's scenario, and this quote I picked up from a wonderful book, To Sell is Human, which is highly recommended to all of you, and which clearly says that, in these times, in the present scenario, when the buyers know more than the sellers, they can know more than the sellers, and sellers are no longer protectors or the purveyors of the information, but the sellers are the curators and the clarifiers of it, helping the customers to make the sense of the blizzard of facts and data and options available to you. So you don't think of yourselves as to be the experts. You don't think of yourselves as if to be whatever you know is right. No, we are only the curators. We are only the clarifiers to the information that the people come to us with. So again, it comes to the same thing. Do you really think that selling is about this transaction of just giving money and getting the product which you purchase, or selling is about much more? These days, selling is just not merely a transaction, but it has become an experience. If it is just going to be a transaction, a person can go online, you can shop on Lenskart, you can shop on Amazon, you can shop on Flipkart. But even if now in this scenario, when customers are coming to you, they are not just coming for the product, they are coming for an experience. And experience happens with right communication. So when we talk about the sales, let me brief you. There used to be 2 theories. The old theory of sales, the old ABCs of the sale was, always be closing. चाहे सामने वाले को कुछ भी करना पड़े. Lot of us have watched this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. Remember? So in that, what you learn is always be closing. But people in that type of a world then had access to information which now people have. So the ABCs of the sales have changed. It has become a process now. It has become a process of attunement, buoyancy, and clarity. So what does this attunement actually means? bringing the harmony between the buyer and the seller, bringing them, tuning their minds, bringing them at your level, making them comfortable. And how you can do these things? By simple techniques of mirroring, by speaking in their language, a lot more things which I'll be sharing with you in the further part of the presentation. Then, very important quality is buoyancy. Who wants to interact? Who wants to have a conversation with a dull and a depressed person? Nobody wants to do that. Even we don't want to do that. We also always want to enter into the conversations out of which we feel fulfilled. We feel excited out of that conversation. We feel, accomplished. We feel that as if, our energy levels have gone up. Be that person. Be that buoyant force. Be that life jacket to the people. Elevate their energies. Your conversation need not to be boring, only to be product and just this plain, simple and boring storytelling. It has to be exciting. You have to show interest in them and you have to create their interest in you. And last but not least is the clarity. And how does this clarity come? As I already told you, we are living in the world of information overload. But yet, most of us are confused about most of the things about, or rather I would say everything in our life, because we have so many options. Even if you go out for a dinner with your wife, with your family, you're confused. You're confused what to order and what not to order. So these days, the role of a seller becomes to create the clarity in your consumer's mind. Because they don't know, they really don't know. You got to ask the right questions and you got to explore what is their actual needs are and how you can fulfill them. So that's the clarity for you. And the simple funda and the basic principle about that is the FAB strategy. So when we actually talk about something, some products, especially which is related to our optical industry or our optometry, we get, we are in love with so much of these technical jargons that we most of the times we actually forget that we are talking to a customer and whether the customer or the client is actually understanding that or not. For example, if I tell a customer, if I tell you that your lenses have got an anti-reflection coating, so that's a feature. Now, what the advantage of it? That it allows more light to pass through your lenses, making your lenses more clear, your vision more sharper. Now that becomes a benefit, that your vision becomes more sharper. It gives you a better cosmetic appearance. This is the value for the customer. Your customer needs to associate, needs to connect these dots where this technology which you mentioned, which creates the curiosity, you have to talk about the advantages and how it is going to add value to your customer. And if you are going to remember this FAB, that is features, advantages, and benefits, your sales pitch is going to be amazing. And most of the times, you won't have to consciously try to sell, and you don't have to be that pushy salesperson, because nobody likes the pushy salesperson these days. So, coming down to how to win customers and taking each point, the other tips, now getting into the details, the minuscule things of it. First and the foremost important thing is know your product and know your service inside out. Because your customers, they might be knowing about it and they won't be satisfied. And you have to know it to bring in that confidence in you, and you have to believe in your product. And if you're not believing in your product, stop selling it, because you cannot do that successfully. You will wear out, you will tear down, and you will feel depressed. Better to change the product or the service which you are into. If you're not feeling right about it, if you're not feeling it ethically right about it, you don't feel motivated about it, get out of it. But stick to those things about which you feel passionate about. Don't be afraid to say no. And so many times happens to us, and when customers come to us, it's a progressive lens. In most part of India, a progressive lens can be delivered in only a next day or probably after 2 days. But customers do have an expectations at times. No, can you give it to me in the evening? If you're ready to give me by the evening, I'll place the order, otherwise no. So learn to say no. Learn to say no, because the wrong commitments is going to bring bad name, and things which you're not going to fulfill, which you don't know, Learn to say no. No is a very, very powerful tool. And in long run, your customers, your clients, your patients, they value you for saying no. Listen to their needs and expectations. And I think I've already covered that. But you need to understand, because most of the time they are not able to understand their needs and expectations, and you have to figure it out for them. And when you are able to figure it out for them, they feel very happy, because in this world where nobody understands them, even their spouse are not able to understand what they need and what is your expectations, and you do that for your customer, for your client, or for patient, they feel very happy and they feel immensely connected with you. Learn to speak their language. If they speak to you in Tamil, speak in Tamil. In Hindi, bhai sahab, Hindi mein baat kijiye. Don't try to speak in a language, or don't try to over dramatize. Don't try to show off in something which they don't connect themselves to, because they have to be connected. They have to be attuned to your conversation. Be polite. Whether the person has just come to get the screw tightening done, don't underestimate the potential of any customer. And I'll just share a small experience with you. There was a driver of a person, of a very big businessman, who came to our store. Somehow, one of my person, he didn't speak to that person properly. I pissed him. I spoke to that person properly. I understood his needs. We repaired his glasses and we gave him back. And he was so happy that you won't believe that he made sure that he brought his boss to our store. And now that driver has given us a much bigger and a much better business, which we could not expect, only because we could be polite. So remember that. Don't underestimate any rickshaw wala, auto wala, anybody for that matter. The host has muted me. I think there's a lot of distraction. That's fine. We'll try to keep the pace. Now, so this is it. You have to be polite, my friends. You cannot dominate over your customers. Number 6, empathize with their problem. Don't sympathize with them. Don't go into deep. Learn to have a detached attachment. If they are sharing about your problem, you don't have to go into that. You don't have to feel depressed. Remember, you are the force. You are the life jacket. You have to be buoyant. You are the person who will bring them out of that distress. So empathize with their problems and try to find genuine solutions for them. Ask them genuine questions. Show genuine interest in them, in their life, in their needs. Use the right channels. Yes, because many of the customers which you face, they are either kinesthetic, they're either visual, or they're auditory. What does that mean? That an auditory customer will need to hear a lot of affirmation from you. A visual customer would like to see the product demonstrations. You would like to see a price list. You would like to see a product catalog. Show it to them. A kinesthetic customer would probably, need to move around and see and explore. Give them that. Use right channels to even market yourself. If your target audience is on Facebook, you've got to be on the Facebook, my friends. If your customers are using Instagram, you have to be on the Instagram. So this is what you mean by the right channels. Add personal touch to all your communication, whether it is face-to-face or whether it is through your emails. Try to have customized by having their name. Try to add a personal touch in every communication that you make. And when you're doing a one-to-one interaction with somebody, make it a habit to repeat their first name. For example, when you're talking to Mr. Gupta and you make a conversation, for example, like this, okay, Mr. Gupta, understand. Probably this is what you're finding challenges within your life. So Gupta, I have a few solutions for you. So let us explore it together and try to understand this. Now, when you are saying this Mr. Gupta, Mr. Gupta, twice, thrice, 4 times, 2-3 things will happen. Number 1, the person is going to feel that your entire attention, your entire interest into that person. You will always remember that person's name. So next visit after 6 months or a year, You'll be able to have a better recall of their names, and they're going to be super impressed by that just because you remember their name. And it is a very, very personal thing for a customer. And number three, they are going to be attached to you for life. And number 10 tip, which is very important, your follow-ups has to be prompt. Many a times people come, they do an inquiry, whether you have this model number or not, please let me know once you have it in your store. And we are not able to follow up and we are not able to update. So make it a habit, have a proper structure for follow-ups, whether you do it on a simple Excel sheet or on a diary, it doesn't matter. What matters is that your follow-ups are prompt and they're timely. And then comes to a very important aspect of interacting or winning the customers is asking the feedback. And not just asking the feedback, analyzing the feedback and getting back to your customers about the feedback. Most don't have a prejudice that whether the patient is or the customer is always dissatisfied. That is the reason why they're complaining. No, feedback gives you an opportunity, gives you a wonderful opportunity to improve. So it's very, very important. And when you're trying to win a customer, my friend, you have to be very, very patient. Patience level have gone down. These days, whether you see kids or anybody or even on the road, people are highly, highly impatient. Don't you see that? Even in their families, they are very impatient. So when you actually come across with someone who's actually very patient, you feel immediately connected to that person because it's a rare thing to find. And that is patience. Be consistent. Be consistent. You need to walk the talk. You have to be consistent about your communication, whether it is verbal or whether it is through your posters, your visuals. Your consistency should reflect. If you're talking premium, you should look premium. You should sell premium. It has to be premium 360 degree. You cannot compromise on the presentation of the store. You cannot compromise on the presentation of yourself. And you cannot compromise on the words you choose for your conversation. And most important thing, make things easy for them. So entire journey or the entire summary of the today's topic is, how we can actually make things easy for them. They understand, they connect with us, they relate with us. So these days, sales is not about selling, my friends. It's not about pushing the product. The selling is about service. And all of us are here to serve. And when we understand, when we see all these trainings and all, how you can upsell, how you can do this, how you can do that. Sorry, you cannot. You got to upserve. And what does this upserve means? That how more value you can add to your customer's experience. The little things which can add value to your customer things and which also gives you an additional sales. So your focus has to be on the more friendly objective, that is observing. Observing should be the term for you, not upselling. Now coming to that, as I talked to you about the image, what's your image in the mind of your customers? Have you asked yourself that question? If you ask that, very good. Now ask that question to your customers. What is the image they have of you in the mind? I'm going to show you some of the images and you just need to think about what is the kind of image a person forms when he comes to an optical store like this. Again, it is an optical store selling glasses, probably even doing the eye checkups and doing probably a decent job. But this sort of setup definitely has a different sort of an image compared to this sort of a setup. Now, when you see a person like this selling glasses and a setup like this, it also gives you a different feel altogether, a different image to your customer's mind when you see a setup like this. So it is not only about your conversation, it is also about the presentation of your clinic, of your store. Think about it. Where out of all these three options, where if you have to spend 10,000 rupees on your glasses, which of the three you will choose? Ask yourself that question. My friends, most of us, are optometrists, and we are highly skillful optometrists in India. We are so amazingly skillful that most of us, we actually don't rely on a lot of machines. We are happy with our retinoscope. We are happy with our basic trial set. Whereas, do you think this is going to be a very, very impressive statement for your customers or your clients? No, you need to create that image. You need to have a setup which impresses them, which communicate about you to them. So it's your choice. You are in any ways communicating something, whether you are communicating this or you're communicating the picture on the right. So you need to choose what is that you want to communicate with your customers and your clients. Same thing goes with your personal appearance too, my friends. You might have a wonderful knowledge, you might be expert on several topics, but if you don't look like one, it's useless, because there are so many people, so many customers, and so many patients who would hardly believe you. And they will go for a second opinion, they would go to a second optician to confirm what you have said. So now, apart from this communication that we were doing with the external world, it is also very, very important to have a right communication among your team. If you want to be a champion team like the Gujarat Titans recently did, you have to have an amazing communication with yourself. And a very basic example, we can see in this picture. When there are too many chefs, when there is no clarity and there are too many decision makers, most of the times you end up doing something else than what your customer was actually requiring it, or what your customer actually explained to you, or what your customer actually needed. And this is the reason why they don't make the next visit to you. They go to somebody else. So friends, now I'm going to show you a small video. And for that, I got to share the sound. So I'll also share the sound. Friends, this is an example of a teamwork, that everybody is doing their job and nobody is interfering. Now let's watch it in a slow motion. What and all things have happened? There is a person who's dedicatedly focused on the tires, a person who's dedicatedly and focused on the wires. Everybody is doing their own job. They know what to be done, what to be screwed. And this is an ultra slow motion. Now, this is how your team should work. Don't you think so? Because most of the time what happens when a person or customer enters your store, everybody has a different objective in their mind. Nobody is clear. You got to sit down with your team. You got to have a clear vision and mission for your team, for your peers, for your, even if you have one employee, even if you have one person who's working with you, or even if it is your father who's helping you out in your clinic, you need to have that clarity about what is your vision, what is your mission, what are their key responsibility areas, what do you expect out of them. You need to have that transparency with them. And then you see that how their efficiency and how their working will change, because they're not confused anymore. You got to be open to the feedback. You have to have active listening. Most of the times you think, hey, isko kya pata hai yaar, peon hai. How much does he know? He's just a peon. No, a lot of times, because the customers, they don't back bitch about you on your face. But when they're moving out and when you're not around, they talk about you. And that's where the feedback, the real feedback, can even come from a sweeper of your store, from a peon of your clinic, who can actually tell you about it. Sir, where are we going wrong? You're not able to convey a message properly. So keep your ears open to the feedback of your peers. Encourage. You've got to have an environment which is encouraging, which is appreciating. Again, you've got to have that ability of buoyancy even with your team. You need to be able to lift them up, encourage them, keep them positive, keep them motivated. And you have to improve their skill set. Most of the employers, they think that, pricing is the everything. If you are giving a good salary, that gives the good satisfaction to the employees. And it's not the case. If an employee today, in most of the scenarios, even for that matter, even ourselves, even if we don't feel that we are growing, we are evolving, we don't feel nice, we feel stagnant, and nobody wants to work in a stagnant environment. So you've got to create an environment which improves everybody's skill set. And most importantly, respect. You've got to give respect. People judge you, even your customers judge you with how much respect you speak with your peon, with your sweeper, with anybody, with your teammates. आप कस्टमर से तो बात कर रहे हैं, sir, what you'll take? And you'll say, अरे अबे, इधर आ, ये चीज वहां रख दे, तेरे को समझ नहीं आता, तेरे को बोलना नहीं आता, don't you understand? Don't you use your brains? How many times we use all these terms? Your customer is watching. And even if nobody is watching, it is becoming a part of your personality. And as I told you initially, that you cannot play act with your customers these days. You've got to be genuine. And if you have to be genuine, you've got to develop these abilities within you. You cannot outsource them. So to summarize today's session, we talked about the verbal communication, about the importance of non-verbal communication, about the visual communication, and about the written communication. And I hope I have not bored you out, you guys. And I believe that today's session, if it can help you, I would be much, much, much more than happy. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, OCI. And now we are open for questions and we can keep in touch. And these are my links. Thank you. Open to the moderators. Anand ma'am, I think you're mute. You're not able to listen. Okay, I think I got to allow you to mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thanks, Binav. It was fantastic. It was very crisp, the pace was excellent. So what the main crux of today's topic is basically it's very simple. I think all of you who are present here are your own brand. I think you are your own brand, and what services you give is the characteristics of your brand. I think that is where everything comes across, because when customer comes to you or any patient comes to you for services, for any other any other services, particular, it could be for clinical or for optical services, he views you as a brand. I think that is the crux. And if you want to showcase yourself as a premium brand or a good brand or a professional brand, I think these are some of the elements which you need to keep in mind. And one more important thing, the key takeaway from your presentation, Abhinav, which I thought I should really be very open about, is that you clearly mentioned that if you have to win your customers today, okay, you need to do all these extra stuffs. And a winning customer today is just not only for the moment, but it is going to stay for long. They become your advocates. They actually become, they refer more people. It's just not them, their family, their friends, the colleagues, everybody are going to be your customers in the long run. I think that is what we are all looking at, right? We want our patients to come back, stick to us, take our services, and then benefit from them. So if that is what is our main goal, I think an effective communication is the first thing which you need to start with. Very well said, Abhinav. In fact, I really liked one more important concept of teamwork. I think that is something which is very, very important today. In certain practices, you have optometrist doing clinical, and then you have people outside doing the retail. Sometimes what happens, there is no connect between the optometrist and the retail. So the recommendations or whatever they're speaking inside the clinic does not get translated into the right solution in the retail. So I think a perfect handover from the optometrist to the retail is again one area of communication, which is very, very important in a full setup. Very well said. So I have one important question to you, Abhinav. You talked about a very perfect scenario, a customer coming and speaking to you. Fine, it's very nice. What happens if an agitated customer comes to your practice and he comes with a lot of problems? I'll just give you an example. He buys a spectacle lens from you and then he comes back and says, I'm not able to see properly. So what do you do in those cases? How do you handle objections?
Yeah, I would say it's an amazing question. It's an amazing opportunity. So first of all, we have to look at it as an opportunity, because only when people come with their problems, and if you're able to solve them, you build relations for life. Somebody comes to you, you give their glasses, they go back, probably fine. You did everything right. But when they come with an objection, you have to, first of all, look at it as an opportunity. What happens with most of the human minds that we always look for negative, and we immediately get defensive. We immediately, lose our temperament in terms of people. As I already stated in my earlier part of the presentation also, patience is something which is missing in all the patients. Always remember that patience is something which is missing in all the patients, missing in all the customers. So you got to have that patience. So there is a proper approach to it, that you need to be very calm. First of all, you need to take a pause, and they are in that blabbering mode. And if you also start without listening to them and without just two people shouting and not reaching to any conclusions, my friend, you think that probably that customer went away, but you are the biggest loser in the transaction. Because rightly pointed out by you, Lakshmi ma'am, that today every customer is connected with his social network also. Whether a person speaks good about you or not, but every dissatisfied customers make sure that you lose 100 another customers. He'll make sure immediately as your name will come up, Abhinav, no. Don't go to that fellow. That fellow is a cheater. That fellow did this to me. Don't go to that person. And believe me, he will kill your business. So you need to change your perspective when a person is coming with an objection. First of all, stay calm, be composed. You don't have to be afraid also. You have to look confident and composed and try to listen. And most of the times, as I already said, like their buying behavior, for their objections also, they are also not clear what they're actually objecting about. They don't know whether they are not happy with the frame, they're not happy with the lens, they're not happy with the price, what they're not happy about. Ask those questions and never ask a why. Why you are coming with this problem. It's not a question. Then you are questioning their integrity, and nobody likes that. You ask how, what I can do for you. Okay, this is what I'm trying to understand. Try to rephrase their terms. Okay, is this what you are expecting? Okay, whether you have come with a vision problem, okay, ma'am. So do you feel that, your earlier glasses were doing well, or these glasses are doing fine? Or where you're actually finding the problem? You need to find those things. You need to build those trust. Calm them down. Most importantly, if they are violent, take them to a silent corner. Make them sit. Make them have a glass of water. And best, if you yourself can offer them a glass of water, they will immediately cool down. Have an eye contact with them. Don't look around to solutions. Don't look around. Oh, the responsibility, even if it is for your team. Come on, they have come to you for you. They have not come to you for your salesperson or for your anybody XYZ or for your delivery person. They have come to you for you. They have come to you for Abhinav Marwal. So if they have a problem, they will obviously share it with you, and you are the person who have to listen to it. You have to provide solutions, and you have to owe the responsibility also if it is required. And if it is valid, you've got to accept it. That, okay, it has happened. I'm very unfortunate about it. But what we can do is sometimes in our kind of work, these things happen, but we are committed to rectify it, and we'll make sure that you don't have to face such problems in future. And this sort of a communication, builds long lasting relationships. These customers becomes your evangelists. And you have to, as an independent, practitioners, we have to create evangelists. We don't have marketing budgets like Lenskart. We don't have, marketing budgets like any other thing. We are individual practitioners, and people still come to individual practitioners for the experience, for the connect, for the relationship they have. So if you're not able to build that, they're really, really, really missing, and we got to rethink it. And I feel objections is a very good opportunity to bring build long-term relationship with people. People become friends for life. I have people who have come to my practice shouting at me, at times even abusing, but when they actually settle down, they get into that guilty mode. No, I'm very sorry. I have abused you. No, I have not been right. You're very kind. You're very helpful. And they respect you for life. And then they don't leave you.
Well said, Abhinav. I think I've also heard from many practices that these customers become advocates to your practice. It's very, very true. I think that's a very nice point to talk about. These customers actually become one of the, I think, everlasting customers. They bring in more customers into your clinic, and you have a lot of old customers flow into your practice. Very well said. Any other questions, Anita? Can you just help us in the chat box? Unmute yourself. Abhinav, I think you need to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you mute yourself again.
Yeah. Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Abhinav, for this fabulous presentation. I've indeed become a fan of your presentations now. I've heard you a couple of times, and I look forward to your future presentations too. So in fact, when you say, your slides are fabulous as usual, and how to win customers, when we're going through all those points, I was only reminded of me reading Dale Carnegie's book on how to win friends and influence people, how to stop worrying and living your life, So probably I can crown you as the Dale Carnegie in ophthalmic dispensing, because communication is a very, very key aspect in ophthalmic dispensing, and it is probably the most neglected aspect of the lot, I would say. People concentrate on products, features, how to sell, upskill yourself, upgrade yourself and everything, but they miss out on a very important component, which is communication. And even you touched upon several other aspects, which was really wonderful, like, how to present yourself as a practitioner, as a person who's reaching out to customers, how to keep a very calm and composed self, how to reach out to people. That is very important. One satisfied customer is going to be your customer for life. And they are going to be, talking good about you to even 4 people that's done. One unhappy customer will talk to 10 or maybe 20 other people. Always remember that. So we go by this. So I think, how to present yourself, how to communicate with people around you needn't necessarily be, having a very flamboyant appearance. You need to be very modest. At the same time, reach out in the most simplest form. So thanks a lot for this fabulous presentation. I wish it reaches out to more and more people. For those of you who joined us midway, we will be, having this on our YouTube channel, so you can access this presentation in the future. You can share it amongst your friends and colleagues. This is a very important presentation for everybody who's new into practice, as well as spent a couple of years also into practice. I mean, Abhinav has been got a lot of experience, and he comes from an optical background. So it speaks a lot when he is communicating and talking about these aspects. So thanks once again, Abhinav.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abhinav. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So
I think any more questions?
There are no questions as such for this talk of yours, Abhinav. All that I can say is thank you. You gave a fabulous session today. And for those of you who joined us, thank you very much. In fact, we will coming up with more sessions with the OCI Essilor Knowledge series. So these are the lectures which come up once in 2 months. So look out for the Optometry Council of India Facebook page. We will be updating you on the upcoming webinar sessions also. So from Optometry Council of India, I thank each one of you for having joined us. Thanks a bunch, Anant Lakshmi, for joining us, gracing this session, and also, actively participating in the discussion and having a very active conversation. Thanks once again, Abhinav, for your valuable time and this fabulous presentation. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Good
Thank
luck.
you, Lakshmi ma'am. Thank you, Anita, for giving this platform to me and trusting me for this topic. And it was really a challenge, when you brought this topic to me, and I was very excited to bring it forward to it. And I hope I have lived up to the expectation.
Sure, I think
surely looking forward to do better.
You nailed it.
You nailed it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.